元通訳の水原一平氏の不正送金疑惑。どうやってバレずに口座にアクセスしこの大金を送金できたのかが一つの疑問となっていましたが、水原一平氏が訴追されることになり連邦検事からようやく真実が明らかにされました。人気スポーツ評論家のリッチ・アイゼン氏の見解は大谷選手は潔白であって欲しいが証拠不十分であるため疑いはまだ晴れていないという持論でしたが、十分な証拠が出て安堵すると同時に、自身への批判が殺到したことに対してもジャーナリストとしての立場から意見を示していました。
I'm getting dragged. I'm getting dragged by Dodger fans. I'm getting dragged by Ohtani stands. I'm getting dragged. And I'm getting dragged for being skeptical. I'll just for everyone in the back once again. And that the way it works in this world, certainly when we're fortunate to have the platform that we have and the YouTube channel that we have and the X page that we have and the Facebook page that we have, is some people are seeing what I said a week ago or even in the first hour of yesterday's show.
Right, because information changed.
Right, and saying and thinking that I am just reacting to the latest in a manner in which you're seeing that I was reacting 24 hours before, and things are fluid. So just again, for everyone in the back, my only agenda in this entire thing is hoping that Shohei Ohtani didn't do what we all thought was entirely possible to be true. Of anybody out there who wanted to see full-on evidence before making a conclusion. Now, there were a lot of holes in this story. Certainly when the interpreter in question told ESPN at the start that Ohtani was covering his bets. When it was discovered that $4.5 million out of an Ohtani bank account wound up in the hands of an illegal bookmaker here in Southern California. When I saw Cooper yesterday, because we met Ohtani at the Rams-Saints game, and Ohtani couldn't have been sweeter, and took a picture with Cooper, and the interpreter was there. And it got and Ohtani's agent couldn't have been nicer.
I wonder who the Ipe liked in the game that night.
You know what?
Stop it.
Cooper said to me, Dad, you know what he said to me, Dad? He said, Dad, we met somebody who ripped another person off of $16 million.
Yeah, that's true.
And I said, you know what? I don't know if I've ever met anybody like that either, Coop.
And also, you're doing due diligence.
No,
man.
Listen, I'm just putting it all out there so I can now put in front of you exactly how I'm viewing everything right now, that everything has been laid bare, because I read the 37-page affidavit that was made public yesterday when U.S. attorneys laid bare the entire details of their investigation. And I just want to give you some of these highlights, because I read it all, and the depths that Mizuhara was allegedly going to hide everything from Ohtani and hide everything from Ohtani's agent and bookkeeper and financial advisor and accountant. Everything that he did behind the scenes to gamble and defraud a bank in order to do it. The depths of the deception would make Walter White blush. I couldn't believe, as I was going page by page by page on all of this, laid out by the IRS special agent named Chris Seymour, who's been part of the criminal investigation unit there since February 2001. And yes, as we suspected weeks ago, it is called IRS CI, which sounds like a CBS dramatic procedural.
Is Iron Eagle doing?
Iron Eagle could do a great mid-free throw read of what's coming up on the next IRS CI.
Starring Wilmer Valderrama.
You want to text Nance? You want to text Nance and try to squeeze those in during the Masters this weekend?
Basically, the gist is this, that Mizuhara helped Ohtani open up a bank account when Ohtani first arrived in America.
Okay.
And into this bank account, Ohtani's baseball salary would be placed. I guess direct deposit from Artie Moreno.
Every 2 weeks.
Okay.
They're just like us.
And
Friday.
And sure enough, sure enough, his agent and bookkeeper and financial advisor and accountant would ask to have eyes on this account. And Mizuhara, who was in front of Ohtani and beside Ohtani at every meeting, according to this affidavit, with his agent and everyone else, Mizuhara was the guy to speak on Ohtani's behalf when Ohtani wasn't there and when Ohtani was there, in front of all of them. He would tell these folks, Ohtani wants it private. Whenever they would call him up, because they didn't speak directly to Ohtani without Mizuhara being the translator. And around 2021, Mizuhara began gambling and started dipping into this thing. And that's been my question, is how does all this money go out and the bank doesn't raise a flag with somebody on Ohtani's team? It's because that's the setup. And sure enough, on page 21, I've taken a few excerpts. I want to show everyone. These are the answers I've been looking for and wondering about, and have been criticized for being asked, wondering about these instead of just believing blindly about Ohtani saying I had nothing to do with it. Call it up. This is on page 21, on a day in which it does appear in November of 2021, okay? It appears this may be the first time that Mizuhara had asked for money from this account, and he got rejected from the bank, and the bank froze the account. And he told the bank, because they have the conversations, they are listening in, they have the recordings from the bank. Mizuhara told the bank he was wanting to wire funds, and it was to the bookmaker, for a car loan. And the bank said no and froze the account. And leading straight from the affidavit, on another call on the same day, a different Bank A employee spoke with Mizuhara using his phone regarding the suspension of online banking to the account in question. During this call, Mizuhara again falsely identified himself as victim A and responded to security challenge questions by giving the Bank A employee biographical information for victim A. As a result of this call, Mizuhara was able to successfully lift the online banking suspension of the account. And in here, there is, keep it up, please. In here, there is a footnote from the previous page that I'll read to you. Because Yujin says, I recognize Mizuhara's voice based on a recording of an attempted interview of him on or about March 21, 2024, basically when he came off the plane from South Korea.
Oh, wow.
At Los Angeles International Airport.
Yeah, when the story first
which
broke.
I have reviewed. Moreover, the account owner's victim A, meaning Ohtani, does not speak English fluently, while the caller spoke fluent English.
Well, that's a dead giveaway.
Well, that's a dead giveaway. You know what's also a dead giveaway? The IP addresses they have for Mizuhara's phone and computers, the email accounts that are associated with the account that belong to Mizuhara. They have texts from Mizuhara's phone to the bookmaker and everybody else. And they also have something called device IDs. You know how when you sometimes log into your bank account from another phone or another computer, you're on the road, you're doing something, and they're like, we don't recognize this device.
Yeah,
it's because every device you log into your bank account by the bank is given something called a device ID.
Oh.
They know exactly.
Yes.
The devices Mizuhara was using, they all belong to Mizuhara, none of them to Ohtani. None of them. Noted above, I or members of the investigative team that I have spoken with have reviewed an extraction of the Mizuhara phone, which contained voluminous messages between victim A and Ohtani and Mizuhara in Japanese. An HSI special agent who is fluent and a native speaker of the language, in Japanese language, reviewed approximately 9,700 pages of text messages between victim A and Mizuhara between 2020 and 2024. Based on his review, I am aware of the following. 1. There was no discussion of sports betting between Mizuhara and victim A in the Mizuhara phone. 2. There was no discussion between Mizuhara and victim A that mentioned bookmakers 1, 2, or 3, associate 1, or the named account holder of the account, again, and the account in question is the one with the bookmaker. There was no discussion between Mizuhara and victim A of odds, wagering, or any other reference which might indicate victim A's knowledge of Mizuhara's gambling with bookmaker 1. There was no discussion of keeping the account private. Again, Mizuhara told everybody in Ohtani's life, no eyes on this account, because that's the way Ohtani wanted it. There's not even a serious discussion of keeping this account private between the two men, or any direction by victim A. That information about the account should not be disclosed to Agent 1 or any of the above identified financial advisors for victim A. And then there's one more thing that I'm not putting up on the screen that the special agent pointed out, which is an interesting note. If Ohtani was covering his debts, wouldn't he allow Mizuhara? Would he allow Mizuhara to deposit the winnings if he was covering the debts, like Mizuhara told ESPN to start, right? Mm-hmm. If he was covering the debts, would he allow Mizuhara to take the winnings, $140 million worth? The plot began to unravel. Okay, and the bookmaker number 1 in question wasn't getting paid and wasn't getting responded to by Mizuhara. And I think even he began to wonder, who's behind this whole thing?
The bookmaker.
Yeah. Now I put up on the screen, please. On or about November 17th of this year, bookmaker 1 messaged Mizuhara stating, "Hey, Ippy, it's 2 o'clock on Friday. I don't know why you're not returning my calls. I'm here in Newport Beach, and I see victim A, again, Ohtani, walking his dog.
Oh, geez.
I'm just going to go up and talk to him and ask how I can get in touch with you since you're not responding. Please call me back immediately." That's the way Ohtani almost found out about this, because without a doubt, after you read this whole thing, I am fully convinced that Ohtani saying, I was ripped off through his lawyers on that day he came back from South Korea, and then telling everybody in person through his new interpreter, I had no idea. I've been ripped off. I fully and completely believe it. And to anybody who thinks I feel otherwise because they're seeing something from last week or yesterday, please find the Dodger stan and Ohtani stan in your life and run tell that. I fully believe it. And do I apologize to Ohtani for doubting him? Sure, that's the way you know, and I might sound like a mealy-mouthed apology, but I will never apologize for asking for evidence.
I don't even look at like you were doubting. You were just asking.
No, clearly I was doubting. I was wondering.
What was legitimate question?
But you can't in this day and age. But Ohtani, I completely believe it. And just my 2 pieces of advice: learn English. Learn English.
Check your account now and then.
and change your passwords every now and then.
Yeah.
Because this guy, who he depended on to talk and converse on his behalf with everybody important in his life, completely let him down and ripped him off, and has a major gambling problem. Just what a fascinating read this document is. And I wanted to bring some of these things to you because those are the 2 things I wanted answered. How was he ripped off when everything needs to be, accounted for by the bank and your own personal accountants? And did Ohtani really not know about the gambling? Not a single syllable in Japanese or English on the cell phones between these 2 men that would indicate it.
リッチ・アイゼン氏は影響力のある人物であり、今回の件で相当な批判を受けたようです。ご本人からの意見は大変興味深い内容でした。潔白であってほしいということについては誰しも同じ思いであり、正式に被害者ということが証明されて本当に良かったです。クーパー君とスタジアムで大谷選手に遭遇し写真を撮ったことはちょっとほろ苦い思い出になってしまい悲しいですね。またこれからも大谷選手を取り上げた番組を楽しみにしています。